Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 29th November 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. HARDAN, 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 Haribol, TSV Nectar, NECTAR, Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been trying to discuss about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to my vlog and the video and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous, present, and future videos. So let us continue with the topic of discussion for today's video. In the past video, we began our analysis of a very important term in the psyche of a human living entity, whether male or female, in a lifetime in this material world. This particular term is known as mind. We are trying to understand and analyze the power of mind in the life, psyche, and career of every human living entity, whether male or female. We know about one very important English saying: you become what you think. In other words, the instrument of mind in the psyche of a human living entity, whether male or female, is so powerful that it actually shapes the appearance, looks, outlook, thinking, views, ideas, opinions, and the physical appearance of that human living entity, whether he or she is male or female. You can become sickly, ill, weak, fat, strong, beautiful, fair, and attractive, or, or unattractive, or whatever you feel like, provided your particular mind delves on that particular subject. We have got several case histories of people who became what they wanted to become surely because their mind was applied to a particular purpose or bullseye in their own lifetime. Women who were supposed to have been ugly duckling in their younger age became extremely pretty, lovely, and beautiful swans just because they thought and meditated and contemplated day after day, 24/7, on their own particular wish to look beautiful to their own mind. There have been instances where weaklings who were initially being bullied upon by others in their society became strong and powerful, so much so that one day they were a subject of fear for those in the society. Similarly, there have been several cases where people became spiritualists, professionals, doctors, lawyers, saints, monks, businessmen, etc., because they applied their mind towards a particular very important goal in life. You become what you eat and you become what you think. It is up to your own mind to focus on any subject that fancies you so that you develop all those qualities which help you achieve that particular purpose. There have been instances where 103 or 4-year-old women ran marathon races and 85 or 95-year-old men who, just because they had been contemplating on getting educated, got qualified in the subject of their choice and died as very qualified PhDs, MPhils, postgraduates, graduates, etc. Such examples uh, are plenty or dozens in this society. We have come across several cases where dacoits and criminals became saints and monks. We have come across guys who were born in very poor and humble family who achieved dizzy heights of fame, fortune, and success in this material world or in the spiritual world. We all know by now that in our own body, our brain is the most powerful instrument in the gross body, and the vibrations of the three subtle bodies are based on the thoughts and opinions and ideas of a particular living entity, which are further transmitted to this brain, which processes those ideas, opinions, thoughts, etc., and percolates it down the gross body of a living entity in such a way that that living entity sooner or later achieves his or her goal or purpose in life. Today we shall discuss about one case history of which I know very well. I know that what I am going to share as an information about the life of this particular living entity is absolutely true and is not mixed with either any emotion or lies. So let us continue about the case history of this particular living entity. There was one respectable government servant who was working in the government and one of government's departments in India. This guy had two sons. The elder boy was brilliant or is brilliant academically, and this guy wanted to become an engineer by profession right from his childhood. He achieved this aim by thinking about it and studying his own subjects in the school and colleges accordingly. He qualified as an engineer and got respectable jobs in at least three very reputed organizations in India. So much so that this guy is still a member of a very respectable international association pertaining to professionals all around the world in various walks of life. His younger brother was a slightly different kind of person. Though this guy was playful and his own parents were constantly worried about him, thinking that he will end up as a black sheep of the family, which his own father usually termed while addressing this boy and calling him a problem child. The fact remains that this guy began getting or developing germs of becoming a voracious reader from a very young age. When this boy, who was average or below average in his academics, was 10 or 11 years old, by chance he got a magazine as a gift from a friend who was his schoolmate, and this guy was in his bed convulsing after a bout of typhoid. This boy took that magazine and began reading it just like he had been doing from the age of 4. He was already 10 or 11 at that time. This magazine was called Manohar Kahaniya, a monthly Hindi monthly magazine which dealt on crime and occult and such mysterious stories. This guy got hooked to these subjects to such an extent that soon he was neck deep into this subject, and whenever he went to his school library, he only selected mystery subjects as books for his regular reading at home. This guy, believe it or not, started reading books meant for 14 or 15 or 16-year old boys in Britain and were written by none other than the famous British author called Enid Blyton. This lady wrote some mystery stories which this boy, at the age of 12, an Indian boy, began reading while it was actually supposed to have been applicable to the minds of 16 or 15-year-old boys from Britain. Not only this boy was only 16 when he was introduced to mystery stories from the great British author Arthur Conan Doyle. In other words, this guy invariably read those mystery stories which were meant to be read by guys older than him from other foreign countries where these books were being written. This went on continuously during the growing up of this guy. Just because he was soaked neck deep into books right from his childhood, this guy began nourishing dreams of becoming either a journalist or a mystery book writer. Or you may say he wanted to write on all subjects which he was studying about and which he wanted to mention in his own books. However, when he was 19, due to his own destiny and karma, he was pushed into book writing in commerce than in writing books. This guy could have tried to become a cub reporter, a press reporter, a journalist, a writer, and an author, but his fate intervened, and this guy was forced to concentrate his own mind into some subject of which he was hardly aware of before. Yet this guy tried to apply his mind into this alien subject, and whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. This guy was forced to earn his living as an accounts assistant and accountant for 30 years in various organizations in Delhi, Chennai, and Mumbai. Not that this guy had given up his own dream of becoming a successful writer. He still cherished this dream and kept it close to his heart. However, every time he tried to go into that line, some fate intervened and laid roadblocks into his career and his run for success in that particular line. He was always into some checkered lifestyle or career, and he had to go through several deprivations, failures, frustrations, and heartburn to such an extent that when he was in his 30s, he actually unabashedly wept in a tea shop, thinking that his life had come to an end. Believe it or not, when this guy was just 26, he felt that his own life was so dark ahead that he tried to even commit suicide by throwing himself under a running train. However, this guy survived because destiny had something else in store for him. This guy continued with his life as an accounts person till one day a friend introduced him to a correspondence course in journalism and mass communication. Trust me, this guy was the chief accountant of a firm when he registered for this course and within 6 months passed its intermediate exam and in 1 year passed the whole course while working as a chief accountant in that organization. This guy was already 45 or 46 at that time. He was old, he was involved in a very alien profession and subject, and yet he cleared this course to success. The lifelong dream of doing something in writing and journalism proved true when this boy was in his 45th or 46th year. In fact, he was no more a boy. He was a middle aged or aging individual when he achieved this aim which he had applied his mind on 30 or 40 years ago. This guy got his first chance in writing when he was asked to translate a Tamil serial into Hindi in a channel which gave him a job as its employee just because of his own qualification as a postgraduate in journalism and mass communication. This guy completely succeeded in completing this job, and so his name appeared for the first time as something of a writer in a Bhojpuri serial produced by that channel. By that time, this guy was 49 or 50 years of age. But this guy did not lose heart. This minuscule success made him realize that his own mind can be applied to a subject of his own choice, and either sooner or very later or at a very old age he can achieve his own dreams. You would be surprised to know about an incident in this guy's life. There was one forum or organization which made professional technical biodata for people who paid to get such resume or biodata done. This particular forum had an office near his channel office in Noida, Delhi, or Uttar Pradesh in India. This guy approached that forum. They told him to give them his details so that they could make his resume. This guy, when he went to his office and tried to make a list of all his own details, found that in his 30 years he had done so much in so many different fields that it would be unwise for him to give all details to this Naukri.com forum which was making such resumes. So he gave only 50% of important details of his own life and psyche to Naukri.com. He also paid money to make his resume to Naukri.com. Within 15 minutes, when he had hardly settled in his seat in his office, he got a phone call from Naukri.com. One guy harangued him for paying for one resume while he had given details about two individuals with very different qualities, achievements, and qualifications. This Naukri.com person shouted, "You have given me the details of a successful accountant on one side and a writer on the other. Kindly let me know whose resume I should make." This guy could not believe his ears. Inadvertently, by default and not by design, he had given his own achievements in the accountancy and commerce fields on one side and his own journalism and writing field on the other. Yes, it was a fact at that time that his commerce achievements were more than his writing achievements. Nevertheless, the information that he had given in his details to Naukri.com were such that this employee from Naukri.com was forced to ask this guy the permission to make the resume of an accountant or a writer. We shall continue with this story in my next video. And at the end of the next video, I will let you know who this guy is or was. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular video subject and subject matter. Please give me your own expert views, thoughts, ideas, and opinions so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.